2 years ago. Whether you do that or not, please start to understand how impactful insulin resistance is in your own life. That's the key thing. So if you're having excess weight, if you're having skin tags, if you're having skin discoloration, if you're having sleep apnea, if you're having pains that you can't explain, if you're having brain fog and anxiety and depression, all of those things are linked to insulin resistance. And how much better would your life feel? How much better would you feel if you weren't dealing with all of those things? And it's actually really simple and easy to address. And it doesn't take medications. It doesn't take lengthy doctor's visits and MRIs and CAT scans, all the stuff that I went through, because no doctor talked to me about this. Even the ones that I love and respect to this day did not talk to me about this when I was sick and my health was failing. It was only because I figured it out on my own by stumbling onto this protocol. I wasn't like some guru who was like, oop, this is the research I'm going to do, and I'm going to find this and it's going to fix me. Trust me, I did a ton of research. I did all the stuff, the natural stuff, the berberine and the black seed oil and the lemons and the ginger and the garlic and wild blueberries and all of these things, and made these crazy concoctions every single day, and I wasn't getting better. So yes, I stumbled on this, just like you guys probably are stumbling on it now. But I gave it a shot because I felt like my back was up against the wall, and if I didn't change something, I was not going to be around in 2 years, a year even maybe. And so I did it. It worked. I never had to utilize the guarantee because it does have a 90-day money-back guarantee. Real Foods got me off of 10 medications. Can you all tell I'm excited? Today's been a really productive, weird day, but productive. I'm feeling super good. By the way, anybody, yeah, I was on a call earlier with Jessie Lee's tribe, and there was a great big honor thing in there for her, and it was heartfelt and touching, and reminded me how much we need to step into joy. So there's that. My joy, by the way, is helping y'all understand, whether it's 2 people, whether it's 10 people. I hope to help somebody understand this thing called insulin resistance. Again, if you do the protocol I do, amazing. If you don't and you choose to go it on your own, amazing. Just understand that it's happening to you. It's happening to 93% of us, according to recent studies. So I don't want to get all sciencey because I tend to do that too much. I will get a little sciencey this afternoon and go over some of the things. But look, the bottom line is that our food is failing us. We're not getting the nourishment we need out of it. We're getting too much of some things and too little of other things. And we're all in the same food environment. Whether you're growing your own food, or whether you're boxing it, bagging it, whatever, we're all getting the same type of food, and we're all getting the foods that are modified, manufactured, and causing health disease and disorder in our health. And that's what happens, why we get insulin resistance. If anybody, I got to move this so I can see the chat over here. If anybody really needs, if you don't understand insulin resistance, if you don't understand why it's impacting, if you don't understand why I'm yapping about it all the time, ask me. I'll be happy to explain it. But there's so much. All of these things that are listed above are linked to insulin resistance, and there's much, much more. There's arthritis is not on there, leg cramps, and other hormonal disorders, and the anxiety and depression are not up there, because there are so many things. I was losing my eyesight, my hair was falling out, my teeth were bleeding, I had neuropathy and edema. Those are all things that are linked to insulin resistance. Migraines, body aches and pains, feeling hungry all the time. I can't tell you how many people have told me that they feel tired and cold after they eat. I was one. Okay. How many of you guys have asked or questioned why you feel tired or cold after you eat? Does anybody suffer with that? Or you just feel fatigued? You feel like you're cold? I always used to say it felt like somebody poured a bucket of cold water over me. After I ate, I'd get goosebumps. I'd get this real bad lethargy. And the best I could get was, oh, your body's just really working hard to digest what you just ate, and just chill with it. It's okay. Well, that's not the truth. And if you guys want to know what the truth is, I'm here to share it with you. But there's so many people who suffer from that, and you don't have to. Once I became more insulin sensitive, that stopped. I don't have that fatigue after I eat. I don't have that, I'm going to go crawl up under a blanket and I'm going to lay down and watch 2 hours of Netflix because I just feel so horrible now. No, I feel energized after I eat. I feel good after I eat. I feel like I want to go conquer the world most days. So that's a big change from 2 years ago when I couldn't drag myself off the couch because I was in so much pain. Anyway, this isn't about me. It's about you guys. So share with me, if you will, anything. If you are suffering from anything on this list, let me know. because I would love to talk about it. This week, however, I'm going to go over this week while you guys are deciding what you want to share or not share. This week, I'm going over heart-related disorders and how it all relates to insulin resistance. If you haven't followed my channel before, I like to break this stuff down. I like to give you real answers as to why. Oh, yeah. So that's tough. So there's a couple of things. There's probably a lot going on with you. Not a doctor, not a nutritionist, cannot diagnose or anything. But when I hear those things, let me tell you that trauma and surgeries can increase your susceptibility to insulin resistance. If you had brain surgery, you've had a lot of trauma there, and then you went through chemotherapy as well. Honey, you've had a hard go, haven't you? That's rough. I'm sorry to hear that. But one thing that triggers for me, because I didn't know some of this stuff until I started reaching out and figuring out for myself what was happening and why. And along the way, you know, I call myself the connect the dots lady. So when I start connecting the dots and I start looking at, you know, when did I feel like my insulin resistance symptoms began? When did they exacerbate? When did my PCOS begin? All of that. Head trauma for me. I was hit in the head with a shot put, a 12-pound shot put. Anybody want to hear that story, how I got hit in the head with a 12-pound shot, flying shot put and survived? Because I look back and knowing what I know now, I honestly believe that's part of what happened. That trauma to the brain, when there's trauma to the brain, it can cause you to be more likely to be insulin resistant. So if you've had that kind of head trauma, and chemotherapy and head surgery would absolutely fall in that, you're end up more likely to this. Now, am I going to diagnose you and say this is what your problem is? Nope. But am I going to say, like, look, if it could help your quality of life by addressing the insulin resistance that may be going on in your body, would that be worth it to you? And for me, it was a yes. I don't know where you're at, but that's it. So chronic fatigue and headaches and migraines and all of that, is controlling your insulin going to take it all away? I don't know. It could help. I would love to know if you tried the protocol and if it actually helped in that manner. That would be an amazing story to hear. Yeah, so I'm playing more and more with fasting. I love to hear that. So it says, did fasting for a month, different variations, 16-8, I'm assuming is the one that you're diving into. In all honesty, guys, I'm playing with more fasting because now that I understand fasting and the protocol I do go hand in hand. And it's actually extremely healthy. The more studying I do on it, the more I'm like, well, why are not more people talking about it? Why are we being told, well, you know why? Because the food industry doesn't profit when we fast, right? How much food is the food industry selling if we're fasting? And that's, you know, that's tough, guys. That goes all the way down the line. I want to talk about something else in a second, but so I just did a 5-day fast. It's been about a week now. I refed. I'm doing great. I feel amazing. I just contacted my daughter because she was not able to hop into the 5-day fast with me. A number of things happened in her life and just made it so mentally she was not there. So we're doing this. Another gal on here, Fiber and Fast, a good friend of mine, is doing this fast where you fast every other day. So my daughter and I are going to do that for the entire month. I'm doing it to help support her getting along the way and to help support my body continued healing. I have not read all the science on it yet, so I can't speak to that. My good friend who is a nutritionist and who also studies Mindy Pell's said how amazing it is. So I'm going to jump in and try because it can't hurt. But 16-8 fasting is amazing fasting to do. It's really healthy for you. This morning I went over why we need to do 16-8 fast. Yep, that's Jennifer Crafty. She's a lovely, lovely person, by the way. So if you don't understand why we do 16-8 fast, ask me. I want to tell you why. I will tell you what mechanisms are happening in your body that give some efficacy to this 16-8 fast that so many of us are doing. So if you need to know why, just let me know. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about this. My daughter and I, so we're fasting for 36 hours and then we're eating in a 12-hour window. So every 2 days, we have a 12-hour window which we're eating in. It is supposed to help with long-term production of ketones, producing more ketones over time in your body, helping with visceral fat, helping with regeneration of cells. Again, I haven't read all the information on it, but so I mean, coming off of a 5-day fast, if I don't eat for one day, that's like so easy now. It's so easy. I'm not like driven by food right now. In a little bit I am, but I'm also being much more cognizant about what I eat and put into my body. So I am writing a cookbook. I am putting together some recipes of things that I played with, that I've eaten over the years, that I found that just can help my Feel Great family understand, because I get that request a lot for what do I eat. And I do not want people to feel like on the protocol, you have to eat the same way I do. So the cookbook I'm creating is like easy, sustainable food. I'm trying to make it the things that you can find in any grocery market across the nation, anywhere. You don't have to have special tools for, and it's not some crazy weird thing where you're like, oh, now I got to go find this one ingredient that I don't even know what it is. Okay. So that's my goal. Is not, I'm not, and I'm also not trying to make every recipe in there keto or anything like that. The number of recipes are, but anyway, food is should be seen as our medicine, and we have gotten so far away from that, and the protocol has really helped me get back to eating for energy and not eating for taste. Like I want things to taste good, so I'm having my family test out some of the recipes and give me their honest opinion. But look, we need to have food that's nutritious and that's tasty, so we will eat it. There's no sense in having nutritious food that we sit down and we're like, I don't want to do this, because there's certain things that go on in your brain chemistry and it makes it so that you are not going to succeed. It needs to be sustainable and enjoyable to a point, but it doesn't need to be this hedonistic enjoyment, right? Hey, how are you doing today, Pitmaster? Um, so so you got to a 24-hour fast and your doctors told you to stop. Why did your doctors tell you to stop? Um, by the way, if you have severe health issues, if you're already extremely lean, if you are pregnant, check with your doctor. I was listening to Dr. Pardeep, and he was saying like a 20 or 16-hour to 24-hour fast. He said even up to, Dr. Pardeep said even up to a 3-day fast. He's like, you don't need to go check with your doctor for that, but that's him. I can't tell you that. Do I do the tea while I'm fasting? Absolutely, I do. I do the tea every day regardless. Now, in one fast I did, and I have not done enough studies, and maybe I should reach out to Dr. Bickman and see what he says about it. He and I had a little talk about doing the balance during fasting, because my ketones actually went up. Now, when I did the balance during the fasting, did it obstruct my autophagy? I don't have a clear answer on that. He didn't have time to give it to me. He was very interested, so I'd love to find that out. But I do the tea every day, fasting or not. When I'm fasting, especially for a longer term fast, one thing that I've realized, and I want everyone to realize, is you still need to get in any vitamins, minerals that you're taking. You still need to get in electrolytes. So maybe a little bit of salt in your tea would be great on your fast, because you need those electrolytes in. You'll have a harder time refeeding if you're not getting electrolytes in while you're fasting. They won't break your fast as long as they're not attached to a bunch of carbohydrates. Okay. So, you're diabetic. Yes, you're insulin resistant if you're diabetic. So, Malo, here's the thing. Again, I'm going to say one more time, I am not a doctor. I cannot give you that direction. How about I tell you what I would do? Okay. How about I tell you what I would do, and I tell you what Dr. Bickman said to me? Then you work with your doctor and figure it out what is good for you. Okay, please. So if it was me, I would never go on insulin for diabetes type 2. Diabetes type 1, you absolutely have to have insulin because your body's not producing it. Diabetes type 2, you don't need it. Look, insulin resistance is a disease of too much insulin. So if your body already has too much insulin, your poor little pancreas is producing so much insulin because you're eating foods that are turning into glucose too quickly that it can't keep up. But you already have too much insulin. Your cells are shutting down and are not responsive to it. What you're doing by adding more insulin is trying to force the cells to take more, but you're probably adding more fat, right? So your A1C and your blood glucose may come down, but your fat is going up. And if you check injection sites where you're taking insulin, you probably, if you were to go look at it, according to Dr. Bickman and other scientists, you have more fat deposits around that site where you inject your insulin because it's creating more fat. Because I'm super excited for, don't forget me. This is me. So, Doctor says this. when a doctor gives a patient insulin who is type 2 diabetes, these are the three things that are happening. You're making them fatter quicker, you're making them sicker quicker, and you're killing them quicker. He's actually had doctors come up to him during conferences where he's talked about this in tears, because when he breaks down all the science and shows them what's happening, they're like, oh my God, you mean all these years I have been harming my patients instead of helping them? And they stop giving their patients insulin. The ones who are educated well by scientists like Dr. Bickman. That's the answer I can give you. This product helps you regulate the insulin, and I can go over why again if anybody's interested how this happens. I will tell you about that, but the protocol works. So Dr. Bickman, a number of other doctors would not ever agree with you giving a type 2 diabetic, I'm specifically talking about type 2, insulin. Okay, so type 1, again, you need insulin. Type 2, you do not need more insulin. Your body's already producing too much. So if you had somebody who had hyperthyroid, would you expect the doc to go in and have the doctor be like, hey, you have some malfunction, I'm going to give you more thyroid? That would be counterintuitive. Or an alcoholic, be like, okay, hey, you know what? I know you're having problems, that life feels a little rough. So let's up your alcohol intake till that feels numb and you're not having those problems anymore. What kind of system would that be? Because that's what they're doing to you with insulin. Seriously, that's what's happening. And we don't need to be killing people off to try and drive numbers down. Also, GLP-1 activators or GLP-1 agonists, are doing a similar job as insulin. So it's forcing your body to produce more insulin, bigger load on your pancreas. It's forcing your cells to take in that excess insulin to try and drive that A1C and blood glucose down, but it's also creating excess fat cells in your body. So about 2 years, according to Dr. Bickman, your hunger, satiety from those drugs starts to wane, and they're either put you on more medication or you're going to come off of them, and then you have more fat cells for that insulin to feed and you become obese again. It is not the drug to take for weight loss, for long-term weight loss, or for health care. Okay, understand that. Let me see what's going on down here. Dr. Pradeep that's his first name. I don't know his last name, probably can't say it. He is all over YouTube. He is a Florida doctor. He talks about fasting and feasting a lot. Yes. Amazing work. I listen to him a lot. I listen to Dr. Yao, who talks about how calories don't count. In fact, his book is sitting right here, and how it has more to do with hormones and genetics than the calories in, calories out model. So many doctors are trying to break that model now. Dr. Lee, who wrote the book Food as Medicine. Dr. Fung, who is one of the predominant doctors who's tackling this whole thing of diabetes without medications and primarily by these practices of fasting. All of these guys are putting their word in on this, and they're changing the paradigm. So the old system was, you have diabetes because the food industry gave you diabetes. Our buddies or our families or our whatever own the big pharma, so we're going to just shove you over to them. We're going to make you sick. We're going to give you to them. They're going to give you medicines. How are you addressing a nutritional deficiency with medicines that have nothing to do with your nutrition? Think about that. Diabetes, insulin resistance is a nutritional disorder. If you're not addressing the nutrition, you are not addressing the root cause. If you're just pumping your body full of medication and not addressing what's really going on, this is why people are getting sicker, fatter, and dying quicker. Okay? Those medications are not saving your life. They're pushing you further into a shorter life sentence. And please understand that. You can take my word for it or not. You can go do the research on it. You can go look it up. But please understand, if you care about your loved ones or your life, do not go down that path. I wouldn't be surprised in years to come that we find out that it's more widespread. This stuff that I'm talking about just gets out there to the public and more people understand it. There's a reason why so many doctors, it's not just us people on here on TikTok, we are starting to have more and more doctors utilize this in their practice. It is prescribable. It is found in the prescriber's digital reference. Doctors that have tried it themselves are saying how amazing it is, how it's the best thing that they've found in medicine in 20 years, and how life-changing it is. One of the cardiologists who's using it gives it to every single patient he has come in. And so there's probably some efficacy. You guys, when I worked in medical offices, just because they have a PhD behind their name Doesn't mean they're the one that resonates with you, okay? They're human like the rest of us. They have different viewpoints. You can put two doctors with a PhD in the same room and they will absolutely disagree on the diagnosis or route of care for a specific disorder. It is what it is. So you got to find what's right for you, okay? So yeah, we had a person comment this morning, what if I take this to my doctor and they say no and they don't like it? Well, then find a doctor who fits with what you believe in, who fits with what your intuition says, who's going to listen to you over their ego, because not every doctor is educated on this. Trust me, they're not. And they will admit to it. The ones who are not led by their ego will admit that they haven't been educated on this insulin resistance piece. So find the doctors who can actually take care of you. And if their ego is so far in the way that they can't listen to you and actually set it down for a second, is that really somebody you want to put your health care and your life in their hands? Do you really want that? I don't say they need to be humble and they don't need to kowtow to you, but they need to be able to learn and change their mode of thought, because every year science is proving more and more and more new things that we didn't know last year, the year before, 10 years ago, all of that. So if we can't be progressive in our thinking and our doctors can't be progressive in our thinking, we're going to be sick. All right. So you don't have diabetes. I'm not here to talk about metformin or Mounjaro or any of those. I am not an advocate for those medications. So you need to talk to your doctor about those. And by the way, I'm not the one to tell you to take them in the first place. Okay. So I would not ever, ever recommend someone being on those. That's my personal opinion. Okay. So if you have questions about metformin, Mounjaro, those things, there are plenty of channels out there who talk about that. We are on opposite sides of the planet from each other. So go there. Just like I said with everything else, go there. Okay. So what I'm talking about is addressing a nutritional disorder by the means of addressing that root cause. Hey, Jim, do you want to come on here and talk for a minute? I didn't realize you were still in here. If you're open to talking and helping share with these people, hallelujah. Jim is an amazing guy. Jason is on here now too. So I have pictures of all ladies up there, but all the guys are in the chat today. So you guys, insulin resistance is linked to everything that I have up here, and it's devastating to many people. So when I say suffer with things, I'm actually meaning, if you've been there and you understand this, you know that you're suffering from a number of these things. And it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. No, Crafty, isn't Jim your guy? So here comes Jim. He's also on the system. Jim, how long have you been on the system?
About 10 months. Hi, Misha.
Hey, I'm amazing today. I feel like I'm on fire. I don't know what happened, but something got under my bonnet. Here we go.
I love listening to you. You're wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Resource. And I hope everybody is taking notes because you pack some good information into this.
I try. That's the whole point. Like, look, Jill, so you have some fans in here, Jim. But,
Hi, Jill. Hi, Crafty. How are you?
So would you share your story with everybody who hasn't heard it yet?
So, yeah, I think I kind of represent that stereotypical middle American dude, right? I drink my beer, eat my pizza. I'm actually eating chicken wings right now. Baked, not fried. I think I'm that stereotypical middle American dude. I got sick. I had a 12.2% A1C. I had high cholesterol. I had 459 LDL, which is just quite deadly. And had to make some life changes. I've got a beautiful family. I've got a beautiful bride. I've got four beautiful children. And I got to thinking, like, who's going to walk my daughters down the aisle? Who's going to raise my youngest son? Sounds weird, but who's going to marry my wife? I just wasn't quite ready for that, so I had to make some changes. I made some changes, major health changes, major diet changes, and went on the medications. That's what you're scared into doing, right? You feel like that's the only way to do it, and so I went on the medications, was able to get my numbers pretty well under control until the beginning of this year when Trulicity went on national back order. I couldn't get it. And that was that point when I realized it was at that exact moment, I realized that the pharmaceutical industry wasn't trying to help my type 2 diabetes. They were trying to sell a product to anybody that would buy it, and they took it away from the people who needed it for type 2 diabetes, and they gave it to people who, I guess you could say, needed it for weight loss or whatever. They took it away. And it was around that time that I found this product, and within 6 weeks, 7 weeks, I think I started this product January 4th, and I got a message from my doctor February 17th. So what is that? 44 days?
Yeah.
I was in remission. And to be honest, it took 2 days to get my voicemail, so 42 days. So 6 weeks, pretty much on the money, was the time when I started this until the time that I took my last dose of Trulicity.
Wow.
6 weeks. And this is something, just as you were saying, that we're treating the condition. We're treating the condition of type 2 diabetes. We're not addressing insulin resistance. And what this does is addresses that insulin resistance. And, you see it just the same. Misha, you got people that you've helped that they deal with this in very short order. It happens quick. That, when you start addressing the root cause, the problem goes away, and it goes away quick. There's no need to treat something for 20 or 30 or 40 years. That's expensive and that's damaging.
Yeah, it is. And people don't realize that. So for me, I was on 10 different medications, and that's not counting the pain medications I was on. So when I strip away the cost of those medications, and by the way, because there was some, I have never talked about this. I had to get some of those pain medications through, we'll say, nefarious routes. I didn't ever do anything illegal, but I had a friend who helped me because I was in so much pain, and Tylenol was not cutting it. But I'm off of all of those medications. And when I look at the cost, not only of my pocketbook, but of my health, like I couldn't make another choice. I just couldn't do any of that. I was so mad one day. I walked up and just literally pulled my garbage can up to the kitchen counter and wiped all of my drugs in to the trash bin and walked away. I was like, I'm done. Never again am I doing this. Now,
I kept them. I kept the bottles for sentimental value.
I wish I would have, just so I could show like the amount of
Wants to just, I've got them. They're there. They represent something to me that I don't want anymore at all. They're there. They're still there. I love not being on them. I like to do my research and pull up articles and look at that. I go thumbing through Google Scholar and NIH and those like that. That somehow became what I am interested in. I came across a published research paper about 2 months ago, so July of 23.
Okay.
That looked at about 47 million, just under 47 million Americans that were on statin medications. And that article proved that statin medications cause insulin resistance.
Really?
Yeah.
If you have that link, would you send it to me? I mean, I can look it up, but I would love that.
Let's see.
We talk about so many things. Jim is really brilliant. Jason, who hopped on and said, "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble." Big Brother and Raggy Nana.
Let's see.
Anyway, we've gotten it. They're brilliant men, by the way, brilliant. So I love listening to you too, Jim.
Well, what I love, Misha, is that there is I feel like a great level of mutual respect. Your name came up in a meeting this morning.
Uh-oh.
It did. It came up in a meeting this morning, and the person I was speaking to, she mentioned you. And I said, what do you think of Misha? And I said, she's a beast. Absolute beast. She's a powerhouse. She understands the product. Everybody here, everybody who talks about this product talks about Jason Vogler.
Yep.
Who's the one that got Jason Vogler healthy?
Jason gave me a lot of trust, and we worked together, and he knew it didn't have to be me, but he knew he needed something better. It just happened to be me that he stubbed his toe on, right? Um,
You cut yourself short there.
okay,
Let me see. I am trying to, let me see.
but
Nisha, here
so
it comes
while
to me.
he's
I'll
looking
send
for
it to
that,
you through TikTok.
yeah, and we're actually, you guys, I do not have the video up. I just posted a video a little, no, I haven't posted the video. I posted I did a static post. I call it a static post, text post, but I will be doing a video today on how insulin resistance creates all of these numerous ways that are causing your blood pressure to go up. And then I'm going to break each one of those reasons down and tell you in depth how that's happening with insulin resistance. So please keep watching because I'm going to get all of those videos out. This week I'm talking about blood pressure and heart disease. It's my favorite thing to deal with because it was one of the things that kept me feeling like I was going to die. My blood pressure had been high for so long, I literally expected my heart to just explode. Um, and it's not that way anymore. My blood pressure, even when I'm excited, it doesn't get to that 130 over 80 part anymore. It regularly, I wake up with 112 over like 72, 74, something every morning. And that's the best feeling in the world when you had a life where you were doing two medications and the best you could get your blood pressure to was 150 over 110 in the doctor's office, but normally it's 150 or 180 over 150. That's a horrible existence. So, you guys, this is replacing statins for people.
That's, I can't believe I wasn't already following you. But I just sent you that.
Okay, perfect.
That research. Wildly interesting, right? And then there's another thing that shows that they revised, and let me get my little tinfoil cap on. The American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology revised the guidelines for cardiovascular prevention, cardiovascular disease prevention in 2013. And at that point, they were basically suggesting that there was an increase in statin usage. They wanted to give it to 40% more healthy men, 22% more healthy women. And the question was, a lot of doctors were in the field saying, wait a minute, what are we doing this for? They're healthy. Why do we need to do this? And I just stumbled across another research paper that showed that between 2012 and 13 to 2018 and 19, there was a 149% increase in statin medication usage. 37 million people to 92 million people started using statins in that time frame. It was a massive jump for statin medications, and the people who were criticizing the decision for the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association were pointing to the money. Where's the money coming from? Well, their biggest donors were Pfizer, were these types of companies, and so you can deduct from it what you want, but what we have is since that time frame, in a very short period of time, an enormous amount of Americans are on statin medications. There it is, Jill. Everyone I know is on one. Everybody's on them. And now I just sent you the link that proves that they cause insulin resistance. So when you talk about the system, we're swimming upstream. We're going against the grain. We're not getting fed good food, and we're getting sicker, and they're putting us on medications. They're making us sicker.
Yeah,
You were
absolutely.
a little bit ago about insulin therapy for type 2 diabetics. We're getting medication that's making us sicker. So
what happens when we get sicker from a drug like insulin? We get put on another drug. So I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this, but when I worked in medical clinics, and this one happened to be in an allergy clinic, so I take this gal in to the room, get all her vitals, do all the stuff, and I start asking her about her medications, and with tears in her eyes, she hands me 2 bags of medications and said, "I just brought them in. You figure it out. I cannot even keep track of them anymore." And it took me over a half an hour, and I was only maybe halfway through. those bags of medication and an EMR that auto filled for me. So that was insane. And as I went through that list of medications, I could see, finally I get to the medication that I feel is like the root cause. Like, okay, she had this, and I knew that from her history. She got put on this medication, and that had these side effects, so she got put on that medication. And then it's just like this domino effect of how she went from one medication into 2 bags full of medication. So we talk about $5 a day. We talk about $154 a month. If you had to have 2 bags of medications that you're either paying in full or paying copay on, that's well over $150 a month. That's well over.
Nothing in the world is cheap, right? But how expensive is your health? How expensive is diabetes? On the CDC's website, literally on their website, they've got CDC Quick Facts, and the number is $9,201, I believe. Let me just verify that number real quick, but I think it's $9,201 per year. $9,601 in 2017, per the CDC. Excess medical costs associated with diabetes were $9,601 per person in 2017.
So I haven't done the math. $154 a month times 12 months is
$1,800.
how much? 1,800? 18, yeah. So like for a fraction of that cost. But now, when you're on those medications and you're doing the diabetes things and you're getting sicker and sicker and sicker, yes, they also cause muscle damage and dementia. They sure can. But so now you're getting sicker and you have a life like I had. So Jim was getting sick. I had a walker, a cane. I had disability plates on my car. I could no longer work in the medical office. I would be carrying trays to a room and my legs would go out. Luckily, I never dumped a tray of thousands of dollars worth of goods, but I would walk out of patients' rooms sometimes and have to catch the walls because the nerve damage was so bad that my legs would be like, okay, mentally you can take this, but your body is done. And the doctors were just like, hey, we love you, but you got to go. So insulin resistance causes a dysfunction in your nerves as well, guys. If you're having edema, if you're having neuropathy, if you're having those weird random things or what they're considering to be fibromyalgia, that's absolutely linked to insulin resistance and a number of things that are happening with your nerve pathways and how they're misfiring. Gout, yes, gout. You know what? I don't talk about gout enough, but yeah.
People who have gout truly suffer. I mean, that's one where it's debilitating. They have to take days off of work because they can't walk. It's so painful. Days off of work, gout caused by insulin resistance. It's what Bigman would say that if it's non-communicable, like if it's not transferred, like a cold, viral or a bacteria, it's not transferred. It's probably caused by insulin resistance.
Yeah.
You start to think about, whoa, what does that noise mean? Wait a minute. Are we talking about bipolar treatment disorder? Are we talking about schizophrenia? Are we talking about autism? Are we talking about... Yeah, we are. That's absolutely in the conversation. All of these things that are caused by insulin resistance.
So Celeste, I appreciate you. Everybody, whether you're on Jim's live or mine, go to our profile link. You'll find the protocol there. I'll drop a link in my live. You guys, it's amazing. It's saving lives. When you bring up gout, my ex-husband suffered with gout, and it just triggers like every day. The more we know these links, the more things trigger. Back in the day, one of the things they told us to do for his gout was cherry juice. Now, I understand there's some components in cherry juice that are great, but you give somebody who's already having insulin problems cherry juice, and what's happening? You're actually making it worse. For the little bit of good component in the cherries, you're making it so much worse by the amount of fructose that's in your system. So, yeah, it's insane.
Does somebody in oncology give somebody who's going through chemo Jello?
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. That's not helping. You're giving them, and I liked your analogy, the way that you worded it. You're giving an alcoholic a glass of wine. What's up,
Yep.
Celeste? How are you?
So yeah, you guys, it's insane. And I talk about this a lot too. Uh-oh,
Yep, you're gone.
I'm gone. I'm
Can't
I'm
see you.
pushing buttons over here. And come on, flip. Am I back yet? Nope.
Nope.
I think I hit it twice.
There you are.
All right.
There you go.
So like when we're taking these trips, when we're doing all of this stuff, I inevitably find a grandparent who will rip a soda out of a kid's hands and hand them fruit juice. And now that I know, I talk about it like you guys, we're not perfect. We're learning this as we go, just like everyone else. And it's crazy the things we're learning. But I used to have nothing but fruit juice in the house because I was told that that was healthy. If you ask my kids were mad. Our cupboard was so boring when they were in high school because I wanted my kids healthy. There were no potato chips, there was no soda pop. There was a lot of fruit juice. Fruit juice is one of the worst things for insulin resistance and diabetics you can do. So when I see I got to figure out, Jim, how to approach these grandparents without like, maybe I'll make a card and just like slip it to them because they don't understand. And I can't be mad at them. They just don't know. And if they did know, maybe they wouldn't.
You watch the Metabolic Classroom episodes on the other video streaming platform? Ben Bickman, Insulin IQ, Metabolic Classroom. Go watch those. And he did one on fruit juice.
Yep.
And what they were doing was, in one study, they gave test patients straight glucose and they gave test patients straight fructose. And in both cases, the blood sugar rose similarly. Cholesterol levels were very similar. They were very parallel. But the fructose, there was a marked acceleration of fatty liver disease.
You know what else they found in that same study? Those things happened, right? So both groups put on pretty much similar fat levels, right? And so if you guys don't know, you have two types of fat in your body, subcutaneous and visceral. The difference was the people who were getting glucose were building subcutaneous fat. Ugly, not pretty, we don't like it, but not necessarily dangerous. The group that was getting fructose built their fat in the visceral areas. So starting to choke off liver, kidneys, heart, gut, intestines, and it also grows in your throat and your tongue. So I didn't know that until about a month and a half, 2 months ago, that visceral fat extends past here and it goes up into your tongue. It's part of why we have fatty tongue and sleep apnea. So obstructive sleep apnea can cause from that tongue having too much fat in it, and it all links back to this. And there's a place in the hippocampus that triggers you in the presence of fructose to store more visceral fat. So it's causing damage at that point.
It literally is going straight to. So, and you mentioned grandparents. How many parents, myself included, thought that I'm going to give my kid apple juice? It's a healthier alternative to soda.
You know,
is it? I mean, certainly, I'm not going to say that soda is healthy, but you're literally giving your kids, and then we wonder, okay, obesity's on the rise. Whoever it was that talk about marketing geniuses, right? We talk about fasting, not spiking our glucose first thing in the morning. Who was it that figured out that, hey, you should have a glass of orange juice first thing in the morning? Here's a glass of sugar water to start your day. That's like the best thing for you is a glass of sugar water. And everybody thinks I got to have a glass of orange juice and a banana first thing in the morning, right?
I don't have any proof of that, but my mind always triggers back to Jack LaLanne, who thought he was doing a great thing by juicing everything, right? Get all these nutrients in without having to digest them. Well, that's circumventing a healthy system. And is it Bickman? One of them was talking about how, it is Bickman. When you masticate, there's actually enzymes that the rest of your gut system needs. So when we bypass that, there are enzymes and chemical reactions in the body that are not happening, that we need in our system for us to properly digest and absorb the rest of the nutrients all the rest of the way down. So yeah, there's a problem with that, a big problem. And yeah, do you think Florida orange, somebody said Florida orange growers did that?
It's just crazy. And all these things that we've been taught, what's healthy? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Wait a minute, let's back that up a little bit. If we were to look at society as a whole, what is the most skipped meal of the day?
Yes.
It's probably breakfast. And if you are in the business of selling food, lunch has already been accounted for, dinner's already been accounted for. If you're trying to improve your market share, what's the easiest one to grab? Well, the one that's the most skipped.
And also, what's the easiest one for them to, and don't tell me that they didn't know this, because they did. But when you start off the day with cereal and fruit juice and all of that, you're hungrier throughout the day. You're more likely to stop for that snack. You're more likely to eat more at lunch, more at dinner, and throughout the day. And so when you start your day with those carbohydrates, and I don't know who that oats being heart healthy, like, no, why don't you like sausage and eggs? And in fact, you guys, when we look at cholesterol, I want you to understand cholesterol that's damaging you is not driven from the saturated fats that are healthy, like coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil. They're being driven by the fat, the cholesterol that you create in your body when you eat too much sugar. So it's the sugar that's converting in your body into a specific type of cholesterol that's causing the damage in your body, not the foodborne cholesterol that you're ingesting. So stop all the nonsense of taking those healthy fats out, right? Like, I have no gallbladder, and I read all these books that are like, well, you might want to do this, you might want to do that. I eat a lot of coconut oil. I never have problems. The minute I start adding too much sugar in or seed oils, that's when I have a problem. I don't have that pain and swelling and bloating and all of that when I have coconut oil, avocado oil, or olive oil. It's
About the seed oils, and I love where you're going with this. Would you just kind of briefly give an overview of what the seed oils are? What would be an example of them?
Oh, yeah, like, well, seed oils and or canola and corn oil. So like you read a lot about grapeseed oil and safflower oil and all of that. But one thing that most people don't understand, and I try to talk about this a lot, and I do believe it's Rockefeller. I wanna actually sit down one day and figure that out. But long ago, especially with the vegetable oils, they decided as an industry, as this industry head, like, I have all this waste and it's going to waste. And what can I do with it? And they figured out that if they drench it in hexane, which is a highly toxic solvent, and then compress it, they can eke out some seed oil that was highly resistant to being flammable at high heat. So they created this oil as a machine oil. And then they sat back and said, we're not really selling enough of this as a machine oil. How can we expand this market? Well, I'll be damned. We made it out of food, so we can label it as a food oil, as a healthier alternative to those saturated fats, in tandem with what Ansel Keys was saying way back when. And then we had this whole thing of these seed oils that's actually causing inflammation and exacerbating your insulin resistance. Hey, Janice, and causing a number of problems in our bodies.
And what did we push aside when we brought the seed oils in, right? Beef tallow.
Yeah, beef tallow, butter, ghee. You guys, there's 3 oils in my house.
To introduce.
How many of us were eating margarine because it was heart healthy? It was so much better for us. Unbeknownst that it was actually causing the problem, exacerbating the problem. So I have real butter, and I had to be careful. I don't know if you've noticed this, Jim, but I go to the store and I see, like real butter. And then I started noticing the color was changing. So I had to start looking at the label. Even something that's labeled real butter has a lot of vegetable oil in it. So I had to start being careful and being really selective about even the butter I buy to make sure that it was 100% milk or milk fats in there, not of these other oils. And I do have some heavy whipping cream in my cupboard. I never have a problem with it. It's that pasteurized processed milk that's usually causing a problem. By the way, I didn't know this until just recently. I keep talking about ghee, and I never really understood what the difference between ghee and butter was. They've removed a number of the milk fats that are causing people with lactose intolerance out, and that's what ghee is. So it's butter without those proteins in it. So those, again, you guys.
You know what I haven't had a problem with since I started this system?
What?
Lactose intolerance.
Yeah, I used to have gluten intolerance. I don't have that either. Like IBS, gas, bloating, all the stuff with gluten. I don't have a problem. If I want a croissant, I can have it.
The funny thing is I thought if I had a bowl of ice cream, my logic was, yeah, the milk is giving me an upset stomach. That's the rattled logic that I had, right? No, it's not the milk that's giving me it's the freaking cup and a half of sugar in every bite, you know, like, but I saw it as being a lactose.
Well, because they train us to do that. Who's bigger, the milk industry or the sugar industry?
What was that?
Who's bigger, the milk industry or the sugar industry?
Yeah, right, the sugar industry for sure, but yeah.
So if people are complaining that something is making them sick, who's going to have the weigh in on that? You know, that's again the sugar industry. By the way, I did a video, I don't know, a year and a half ago on cancer, and it's a really tough topic, but I'm going to bring it up really quick. And everybody was saying there was a recent study that shows cancer does not exacerbate your chances of getting, or I mean, sugar does not exacerbate your chances of getting cancer. Guess where that study came from? One study, the sugar industry. But when you look at everything else where sugar is causing these parts of insulin resistance and where you don't have blood flow, and now you have anaerobic parts of the body which are great for cancer to grow in, yeah, there's a problem. Yeah, there's a problem. So, yeah.
You know, I mentioned a little bit ago that in 2013, there were a number of doctors who were pushing back on the narrative that we needed to change the guidelines for, you know, preventative cardiovascular health, you know, type stuff. And they were suggesting that the American Heart Association was protecting its investors rather than the American people that they were supposed to be protecting.
Right. So I have a couple of comments over here on Facebook and I didn't catch it before. So Dan, I have no way to get you in on the discussion unless you're on TikTok right now. And then Melissa says the food pyramid was created by the Department of Agriculture to encourage sales. No healthy changes have been made to this in years. Our food pyramid is actually kind of being turned upside down right now. But I remember back when my auntie, who was an RN, I would walk into her house because they were living on our property, and her kids would be having apple pie and ice cream, and I'd be like, "What?" And she goes, "Look, they're getting in their fruits, they're getting in their milk, and they're getting in their grains. It's a healthy breakfast." What? Yeah. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, no. Where I was going with that was people would say, "Boy, this guy seems like he has a tinfoil hat on, right? Like it's all a conspiracy." But go down the grocery store aisle with the cereals and see how many of them are AHA approved.
Ah.
Heart Association, you know, Trix. I mean, we don't really think that Lucky Charms is healthy for us, right? But you'll see AHA's tag on it. You know, like,
yeah.
Wait a minute. So all you have to do is, heart friendly. All you have to do is pay a fee, and you get to have their tag on it. And so, and you could just go through the grocery store aisles and look at that. And then you don't have to be a doctor to say, hey, I don't think Lucky Charms are healthy. That's not a healthy alternative, right? We don't really think that that's a healthy alternative. But the American Heart Association says that it's heart friendly, right, Jill? And so when I say that, hey, follow the money, follow the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Duke and Zoomer asked when they took my gallbladder out that it would be easier for me to have fats. No, they did not tell me that. In fact, common knowledge is, and I've bought some books on gallbladder and done some studies, most people will tell you that you cannot have fats and that you need to be careful with them. Now, if I have seed oils, since my gallbladder has been out, if I have seed oils, it's devastating. Okay. I know now that I've been eating cleaner and I have all these things and I'm more aware of my health. I know immediately when I've had something that's negative. And every time I have an issue, it's with excess sugar or seed oils. But like I said, if I have olive oil, butter, coconut oil, and I eat a lot of avocado for healthy fats, I never have an issue. In fact, I made a peanut butter chocolate shake the other day with our complete protein, some peanut butter, coconut oil, avocado in it, heavy whipping cream in it. The most filling thing I've had in a while. Delicious, tasty, didn't have one issue. In fact, I was probably more normal that day than ever. No gastritis, none of it. Huh?
Send me that recipe.
Okay, I'm actually, you don't know this, but I'm working on a recipe book. I wasn't going to. I put it off for 2 years.
I did know this.
Oh, did you?
Sort of.
Sort
I
of.
don't know the details. Vogler, I guess you guys are coming up with something together, or no?
Well, yeah, because Jason is the mix master. So there's going to be a portion, and this portion I'm going to give to all my people on subscription for free. But we're coming up with some fast, friendly drinks. So friendly drinks that you can have during your fast. I already have a few, but I want to give some variety there. And then I have a number of recipes that are based on these tools. Then I have a number of other recipes that we're working on. I'm working through testing them out to make sure they don't just taste good to me, that they taste good to other people. And then we're going to put that together. It's not keto. It's not, any of that. Most of them are keto or ketoistic, I call it. And I decided to go back and put nutrition in so people who are concerned with those things can make sure their nutrition labels are in the right place. But yeah, it's just a book that helps people, because I've been resistant, but most people don't know. They're lost. I forget that, like you and I have done a lot of research, but a lot of people just don't know anymore what they can or can't eat or what is healthy or not. And they're already overwhelmed. So I finally gave in and said, let's help some people out. And yes, Jason's helping me with that. He's an amazing source.
I wear a CGM now. Send me some of those recipes as you're developing them.
Okay.
And I will test it and let you know what my blood sugar does.
Okay.
Along the way, if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for a good recipe anyway.
So here's the criteria for the cookbook. For the most part, I want it to be foods that people can get readily available. They don't have to have any special weird tools to cook it, right? Like a blender, an oven. I'm not going to be like, oh, you got to have an air fryer. You got to have all this stuff. People don't need to go get more. So it needs to be just about as sustainable as the system itself, and tasty to be in the book. For me, that's my criteria. If I start looking at recipes and testing out things that are just way too weird, no. And yeah, there are some things like coconut milk that are in there. I don't advocate. I saw Yvette's post today on oat milk. I feel the same way with almond milk. You guys, this is a whole other story, but I really want this to be something that's healthy and sustainable. You're training in keto cooking. That's amazing. Okay. Yeah, Jim, I'd be happy to send you those recipes and let you try them out and let me.
I'm always looking for something new.
Yeah.
I stumbled across one last week that I'm going to do for dinner tonight. I'm going to do pizza. Everybody knows I love pizza, but I don't feel like taking in the carbs today. So last week I stumbled across a recipe that used ground chicken.
For the pizza crust. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
It's a pound of ground chicken. It's it's a full cup of Parmesan cheese and 2 eggs. Mix it all together and spread it out over the tray and bake it off at 450 for 30 minutes, and then throw the broiler on for a few minutes and pull it out, put your sauce on it, put your cheese on it, and it is legit. I made it last week. Amanda and I both went crazy for it. And so I asked her this morning, I was like, hey, I want to do that again. She's like, absolutely. So I went.
Will you share that one with me? Yeah, I love pizza, but since I've had my gallbladder out, it does not love me. Huh?
I think it was Janice that sent it to me, actually.
Janice? Oh, Janice, you got to share that out, hon. Yeah, like it's so cute. My grandson even knows. He knows that I need to have the tools before I eat. If we sit down to eat and he hasn't seen me drink my balance, he'll be like, Nana, you didn't have your medicine before you ate. He also knows how devastating pizza can be for me. Who knows? Is it the oils they use? Is it I think there's a combination of the oils and the tomato. But he's like, nope, Nana, we're not having pizza at your house because it just makes you hurt too much. He's been around afterwards. So I would love a good, healthy pizza recipe because I kind of miss it.
I love I do love my pizza. I think everybody knows that I love my pizza. But I just had pizza a couple of weeks ago ish, and I don't want to have it every day. I don't want to have it
Right?
every week. It's not. It's a treat, and if I have it every couple of weeks, then it's not a treat. So this is it was actually a really good recipe. Um, we devoured it. So so anybody's interested, um, Janice is going to send you the link, I guess. But it's a pretty simple recipe. It's 1 pound of ground chicken. It's 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. It is 2 eggs. It's the only ingredients in it. You might want to sprinkle in some Italian seasoning or something like that. Something oregano. Something like that into that mix, just to kind of flavor that. And then you spread it out over a baking sheet, a cookie sheet or whatever, and you bake it at 450 degrees for 30 minutes. And then for like the last 3 minutes, flip a broiler on and kind of crust it up a little bit. It is way easy and it's good.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to give it a shot. My grandson will be so happy. To consumer, I don't understand what that comment came in. They do not help you live without your gallbladder. I do want to address that really quick. So when my gallbladder was yanked almost 2 years ago, December will be 2 years now. Nobody told me that it would make me be more susceptible to insulin resistance. Nobody told me that it was going to cause problems with my thyroid. Nobody told me that women who have their gallbladder out have a harder time losing weight overall and actually gain weight after their gallbladder is yanked. Nobody told me that it can cause mood and anxiety disorders. Nobody said any of that. They said, we don't need this little thing, yank it out. So now, because I've suffered in this January, about a year after having mine yanked, I got really sick. A lot of people don't know that. I've been struggling with some things, and I really do want to create something to help people. Because look, when I get asked about the Feel Great system and the protocol that we're doing and whether I can still do it without a gallbladder, it's the one thing probably saving me from all of this stuff. Do I struggle more? Yes. Is the Feel Great system helping me? When we look at the fact that our gallbladder and our liver, look, if your gallbladder is sick and you're telling you it has to be yanked, your liver is sick. You don't get a sick gallbladder without a sick liver. And the sick liver, as we talked about earlier, comes from insulin resistance. So now more than ever, it's paramount for me to address insulin resistance in my body. I would not say I don't need it just because my gallbladder's been yanked. I need it now more than ever now. So I'm more than happy as I get this stuff put together. I actually have folders on my computer that are stuff for the gallbladder book we're starting. But anyway.
So wait, are you suggesting that a surgeon who gets paid to cut didn't talk you out of getting cut?
Did not say a damn thing to me. Just said, we got to take this. Nobody said. I was like, he's like, you're not gonna have problems. It's gonna be all right. You're gonna live so much better afterward. No. A year after my gallbladder came out, I had started to put weight back on. I was having pain that I couldn't explain. I couldn't eat foods. I was sick and full of inflammation. I had no idea what was going on. And it was me sitting down and going, when did all this start? When did my weight loss stall? When did all of these things happen? When did I start having these other things go on, even though my numbers are looking normal? And then I traced it back to, damn, it all started about when my gallbladder got yanked. So I started looking at what happens when you have your gallbladder yanked. And yeah, it's criminal. It's really criminal that they don't tell people more. They should give you a booklet and say, look, these are all the things that are going to happen if you have this removed. Make your best choice.
Well, would you have had it done if you'd have known that?
Well, I struggled with that a lot because they said that my gallbladder by then was so impacted. I don't know if I could naturally have removed all the stones. When I got to the doctor that time, now I probably wouldn't have had to wait as long, but when I actually got to the doctor, I thought it was food poisoning at first, and then I just couldn't figure out what was going on. Nothing made sense to me. When I finally picked myself up and got to the doctor, the nurses there told me I was 2 hours from death. Had I waited 2 hours longer, I would not be here. So I was a little bit terrified at that point, right? So when they said, this is what happened and you need to have this done, I was a little bit terrified. Should I have waited 3 days to go in? No, but I'm damn stubborn native. I don't go do unless you're, if I have a broken bone, I'll go in. But yeah, so I don't know. I haven't really spent a lot of time reasoning through that. I like to say that I would not have.
Whether you would have made the decision or not, you would have thought about it, right? You would have.
If I would have been given an alternative and like said,
to give you that. Of course, they're not wanting to give you that information
right.
because no, I don't want you to think about it. I just want you to buy the car right now. Right?
Both of my daughters had gallstones when they were pregnant, and they just immediately got told to yank it. Now, studying Bickman and a couple of other people, that's common because of the insulin resistance. That tends to go away. You're not building more gallstones after pregnancy. They can happen in pregnancy. Can it be painful? Can it? Yeah. Can it be dangerous if you're not paying attention? Yeah. But does it have to be yanked? No. And women who've had their gallbladders yanked are having so many problems. It happens more with women than with men because of the pregnancy issue.
All right, Misha, I'm going to get back to my lunch.
Okay.
You haven't on your live. I'm going to jump out. I'm going to be in the comment section.
Well, I'm actually going to, I've been on here for a little over an hour now. I'm going to go get some of these videos done that I've been promising and some of the other stuff. I'll be back at 8:30 in the morning, guys. Jim, I was so thankful that you've been on today and shared with us. You guys go follow him. Many of you already are. Jason, you definitely have PCOS, honey. Oh, you have issues. Okay.
So thank you, Misha.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah, Lynette, sepsis is pretty common with that, right? And it's dangerous. It is dangerous. I will say that. I missed a bunch of comments. How do they sleep at night? I don't know. You guys, this stuff is scary, and that's why we're all here talking about it. So for those of you who don't know, before I run out, it's a protocol that we do. That's a tea that I drink every morning. I just finished my tea because I made a double batch this morning. I'm doing an every other day fast now because I really want my liver healed. You guys just heard about some of the problems I'm having after having my gallbladder out. So I drink a tea in the morning. It gives me energy. It helps me burn fat for fuel. It's helping clean up my liver. This whole thing of being more insulin sensitive. I do some other things for that. You guys, I'll talk about that another time. But that tea, and then I drink these before I eat anything. So 2 meals in a normal day, 10 minutes before, 10 minutes before, and that's it. And it's gotten me off of 10 different medications. It's reversed a number of things that were going wrong in my healthcare, and actually got me to the point where I was telling a customer yesterday, remember I said I had a walker, a cane, and disability plates? This summer, I was able to run up and down a set of stairs to prove to people that I could. So it's made that much change in my life in 2 years. You guys, give it a shot. It has a 90-day money back guarantee. If you go to my profile, that shows you right how to order it there. And I would be honored to be your coach and help you through this journey and help you. I would love to hear on the other side, more than anything, how much better you're doing. You guys have no idea how much joy I get when people send me messages telling me how much their life has changed. That's as much a reason why I do this as anything. And I will see you guys in the morning. Thank you guys for hanging out this long with me and learning, and join and follow Jim as well. Janice, I read my name when I saw yours. Thank you. I appreciate it. Love you guys. We'll see you in the morning. Have a great day.